Okay, I think whenever I unpause it, it stutters for a second. Did you notice that? Because it did it when I paused in that scene with Riku earlier, too.
That could have been what that was.
Tell me what happened. So this is, again, we're cutting like in the middle of a scene here. I'm pretty sure there was like a group meeting. There's like a staff meeting of all of our organization bros, and everybody else leaves, and then Roxas demands information about Shion. Mm-hmm. Tell me what happened to her.
Shion is a valued member of the organization.
Or maybe I'm thinking of other scenes.
But she needs her rest. So worry not.
All these freaking memory migraines these characters have all the time. Okay, maybe this isn't the scene that I was thinking of. Forget it. Remember when he said his true name earlier? Do you remember your true name?
Who is Sora?
The connection.
Connection?
Excuse me?
It's the name of their Wi-Fi router.
And Shion a part of each other's lives. And the reason I placed Shion among our number. If you want her to stay that way, I must insist. You get your mind off these needless distractions. I will have Shion return to her duties
How do you
tomorrow.
get up there? It's like...
You teleport to it.
Okay,
Today,
but...
You must focus on you.
I guess so.
No, I'm not joking. When people leave this room, they
I
teleport
know they teleport,
out.
but it's like... These people, they cannot fly. They don't have control over gravity.
I should honestly mention this because
like,
it's an important
Why do
plot
they keep
point.
putting themselves in dangerous spots like that in a tower?
It's not an important plot point, but I should bring this up since you're talking about it. There is no way in or out of that room except for teleporting.
Good. Also, what happens if another like member gets added?
Oops.
There's
Shion doesn't get a chair, I guess.
Are you certain?
Okay,
you've
well, there
taken
you go.
several Measures
See, I told you.
with Shion and Roxas?
The teleportation effect even looks different when they
will
teleport
admit,
into and out of the chairs.
Shion has strayed from our original designs. However,
What I also love is that the implication of how that teleport is, like, they don't teleport in and then they're standing on top of the chair and they sit down. They sat down in another chair somewhere else and then teleported.
we are also seeing an interesting side effect.
maybe a teleport while like falling backwards.
Yeah, it's possible.
Shion was affected by Roxas, just as we had anticipated.
They planned for
was
this.
indeed
For whatever
what we
this
hoped
is.
to
All according to
achieve.
Keikaku.
But then, through Roxas, Sora himself began to shape it into her, giving Shion a sense
See
of
what I mean? It's even here. It's like there's the 14-year-old model and the 15-year-old model. It's
Identity.
distracting.
Our plan seemed like a failure at this point. But then it occurred to me. Shion is keeping Sora's memories trapped by claiming them as her own. Keeping her close to Roxas will ultimately prevent Sora from ever waking.
Okay, so essentially, it's fairly straightforward. As Nominee was talking about earlier, if Sora doesn't have all of his memories, he can't come back, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they're proposing that somehow she is absorbing Sora's memories through Roxas, right?
Yes.
And kind of, they're now integrating themselves into her own brain, which is going to make it very difficult for them to be reclaimed and sent back to Sora, right? Which is supposedly a thing that they don't want, even though, as we discussed during Kingdom Hearts 2, there's really no downside to Sora being around, because he just kills Heartless for them. More effective. I mean, I don't know, I guess in this game, Roxas is a very effective Heartless executioner, but like if it's, if we can't have Roxas and Sora is back, it's not that big of a deal, ultimately. But anyway, the main thing for me is they're talking about, and Roxas started to affect Shion the way that we had hoped for. They're probably going to address this. Basically, it's just in some way, Roxas affecting Shion is the manner through which she can use a Keyblade. Okay. We'll get back to that later, I think. But the main thing is that, like, there's really relatively minor, when they're like, she was affected by Roxas just as we anticipated. Really, the only major way in which she's being affected is the memory leak thing, which they're like, that was a happy accident. which is why I couldn't remember until this scene if it was something that they had planned for or if it's just something that just happened. And I guess it just happened, and they just got lucky with this scenario that's helping them to keep Sora contained. But we will loop back to these plot details later.
And what of the imposter?
See that he stays away from Roxas.
How do these guys not know who Riku
He
is?
is merely an impurity
That's a good question.
that would make Shion's existence incomplete.
Then we shall return to our original plan.
How can they return to the original plan if the plan has been drastically altered due to the memory shenanigans going on with Shion? Whatever, I don't care. There he is.
Yeah.
He just hanging out. I like to imagine that Riku was just really bored during this whole year, so every now and then he would just go and find a perch and just stand there and look at nothing.
That's what cool guys do.
What am I supposed to do, Riku?
Don't zoom in too hard on that, guys.
It's
It
fine.
doesn't look that great.
Day 300 of the shutdown. God, I can't believe Trump and Democrats still haven't come to an agreement on the budget. I mean, we did pass the record just the other day. It's now the longest shutdown in modern U.S. government history, so... How many days has it been? Hold on, I need to make a joke.
It's been 22 days.
22 days?
Yeah.
Okay, so divided by
21.
what? So 22 days. How do we form this joke?
So it would be 300 days over 22, maybe?
No, 22 over what? Because
22 over 3. Because you got Chuck Schumer, you got Nancy Pelosi, and you got Donald Trump. 22 over 3. Or 21 over 3, because that's what the record was. So 7 lights.
oh, we'll workshop this joke more later.
Yeah, I know.
We will workshop this joke more later.
Just a bunch of buds hanging out.
Just two guys having a good time, having a good time, having a good
Oh
time.
no.
What has happened?
Sora's memory.
Well, the camera's
I'm afraid
turned
to
on, so
stop.
something must have happened. I've just been standing here waiting for my
mean?
scene.
Yeah, what does that mean? His
Unless
memory has
something is
stopped.
done, he'll never wake from his slumber.
The gloves must come off, then.
But
Nobodies never should have existed. As I'm sure you understand, Namine.
yes.
Why are you so racist, Diz? As we've discussed previously, the insistence that nobodies are like this unnatural thing that shouldn't exist is like, no, they're just a thing that is a part of the nature of this universe. There's really nothing like... I mean, like the emblem Heartless are a thing that shouldn't exist. They're a forcible creation created by a madman in a lab. Nobodies are just a thing. They exist.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. There you go. That was an important day, you guys. He
Hey.
ate ice cream by himself.
Yes.
It was important insofar as showing that Roxas' relationships are crumbling.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to talk to Axel because Axel beat up Shion. Shion ain't doing so well. She's just hanging out in her room.
No.
So she sits in her room after hours with the moon and thinks a while. Would you cry if I died? Would you remember my face?
They really need to stop slowing this garbage
It
down.
looks great. What are you talking about? Slowing down footage with extremely harsh locked frame rates into pre-compressed cutscenes for PS3 movies is the ideal form of storytelling and cinematography that Peter Jackson was chasing with the Hobbit films, okay?
What is this? I'm leaking.
He thought he was going, unlike Sora's memories, which have stopped leaking or whatever, I don't know. Peter Jackson thought that
Yes,
the future
keep
of
showing us-
filmmaking was in 48 frames per second. It was actually reducing the frame rate.
Yes, keep showing us more of Sora's memories.
After Shion returned... Is this... Okay, no, I'm just trying to think. Hold on. I'm trying to think about how the Cave of Wonders is set up in Days. I guess this room does exist, huh? The middle of the Chain of Memories is... I mean, not the Chain of Memories. The middle of the Cave of Wonders is different, but the final, like, chamber where the keyhole is the same as Kingdom Hearts 1. And then none of the rooms from the cave from 2 is in there. So I guess it changes. It's like the room of requirement in Harry Potter. Shion returned to the organization. After Shion returned to the organization, Roxas grew weaker by the day. It was as though Shion continued to gain strength as Roxas lost it. Using the Keyblade was beginning to wear out Roxas. Too bad we didn't get to see that in this movie.
The gameplay, was it affected by that?
No, but you get cutscenes frequently enough that they really don't let you forget it. I don't think it affects gameplay. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
Okay?
Maybe they do nerf you, but I don't think they do. They absolutely nerf you when you're using that stick, so...
Huh?
Remember earlier when they trade off, so maybe they nerf you there. I don't remember. It's been a while. As I said,
What do you mean,
I played this game when it came out, and I rewatched a playthrough of it like
Usually I do
2
all
years
the
ago, so
worrying
it's
over
been
you.
a minute.
I don't think it's ever been the other way around before. Just feels strange, that's all.
Aw, this is cute.
Roxas, of course I worry about you.
I'm just glad you're back, Shion. Even though it might have been rough on you.
Is Axel coming today?
Who knows?
You didn't fight, did you?
How could he? How could that jerk attack you like that?
That jerk? Do you mean Axel? But I wouldn't be sitting here with you if Axel hadn't done that. He's your best friend.
I know, but so are you.
It's just not the same without all 3 of us.
I think Shion basically just said if one of your friends isn't agreeing to hang out with you, the solution is to beat them up. It's worth it.
I mean, it works, so I
I
guess.
suppose so.
Huh? You need something?
Well, something's wrong with Roxas. You don't know why, do you? He says the Keyblade wears him out when he goes to use it. And then today, I was fighting the same way Roxas does.
You would know more about Roxas than I do by now.
What do you mean?
Well, what do you think, Shion?
I'm not sure.
Not sure, huh? Is that because you're a puppet? You do know that. You're a replica, whose original purpose was to copy Roxas's powers. So if you see Roxas's powers getting weaker, while your powers are getting stronger, it could be that you're robbing Roxas of his powers more than you ought to be.
Then what should I do?
You gotta think for yourself, 'cause I know you're not just a puppet. We're best friends. You, me, and Roxas, that is. Got it memorized?
Sure. Can I ask you just one other thing?
What's that?
I saw a boy today who looks just like Roxas. Is he who I think he is?
Sora has a pretty powerful effect on her, is all I'm saying.
Why did he wait until the next day to
Yes.
report this?
That's a
It
good
was not
question.
supposed to gain a mind of its own, nor become the person we see. But in the end, it only proves that the puppet is the more worthy vessel.
I'm really confused by this logic here. So essentially, not to skip ahead too much, you remember replicas, Kingdom Hearts, Chain of Memories,
Yeah,
the Riku replica.
exactly.
So the implication is that this is a replica that Shion was a replica, possibly designed by Vexen as well, and that was why we saw Syax coming, like picking her up from Castle Oblivion
Yeah.
after the go down. I guess it was before the go down ending. What am I talking about?
Yeah, it was
Because they
way
brought her
before
in.
that.
Whatever. Anyway, the implication is that I think it's expressed directly later that Vexen created her, right?
Yeah.
Their idea, I think, was, hey, this Roxas thing is cool and all, but maybe he's too similar to Sora. He might be difficult to control. If we just had like a robot who would do whatever we wanted, who could basically just copy all of his powers, best case scenario, we get 2 people who can use a Keyblade. And if that doesn't work out, then we can get rid of Roxas and we have someone we can just use, right?
Yeah.
And now they're saying, oh, she's developing a personality. Crap, we didn't intend for this. But whatever, that just proves that she's great anyway. It's like, no, this is like literally the exact opposite of what you wanted, was an uncontrollable person who can think for themselves. This is just the style of writing where everything that ever happens to these villains is always like water off a duck's back, where they're like, whatever, all according to Keikaku. It's like, no, this is explicitly the opposite of what you wanted, but whatever. Whoa.
Whoa.
The time has come.
I really wish that when it had zoomed in, there had been a higher resolution model of his face where we could see like individual pores.
And what of Roxas?
Both of them have connections to Sora, but we only need one of them under our thumb. Whether Shion takes from Roxas the rest of what he has to give, or whether he destroys her first and takes back what is his, there is no change to our plans. No matter how, Sora's power will belong to us.
Doesn't it already?
Yeah, that's what's weird, right? It's like, I guess maybe like the Shion is unstable and they can't just like balance them both out at like 50% power or something like that. Like one of them has to be at 100 or neither of them is. Look at him, he's so cool up there shooting his guns. Roxas, still in a slump, continued to receive missions from the organization, as per usual. I guess that's it.
All right. Oh.
He spent his days executing missions. Oh boy. Anyway, yeah, no, honestly, it's the nature of the
we're getting close.
The nature of the crisis that has now appeared of like the one or the other must exist. There cannot be both, right? Feels a little bit contrived, especially since it doesn't even seem to be like something that they really like. Like there's, I guess it's a thing where it would be better for them to have both. So why didn't they just create the scenario where they could have both, where they could have 2 people doing it? But whatever. I think the main thing for me is that ultimately a lot of the tension that is created by that background detail of which one of them will take the place of the other, is it ultimately plays off of the stuff that I care about more, which is the relationship between the 2 characters and their insecurities about their place in the world and what they feel in their relationships. Ultimately, those tensions that are much easier to care about and make more sense are more important, and they just happen to kind of rub up against these logistical lore and plot details in a way that ultimately works out pretty well by the end. But we'll see how that we'll keep going.
I'm going to wreck everything. What should I do, Riku?
So you remember how we kept seeing, like, earlier we were seeing them fighting, and we were saying you gotta wait to see the full scene. Now we gotta wait to see this full scene, which was ages ago while she was missing.
Yeah.
Riku. Sora's friend.
Sora? You know Sora?
Yeah.
This is one scene that I distinctively remember in DS, and then when I watched it in the movie, I was like, God, this delivery just seems way weaker comparatively. But so I really do think there's something about the voice direction on this where she's just not performing as well as she did previously.
I just felt like it.
Yeah, I guess I just felt like helping you, says Riku.
Please. Tell me more about Sora and that girl he's always with.
You mean Kairi?
Kairi. That's right. She's the one who looks so much like me.
To Sora, she's someone very special.
They're just
It's
friends,
just-
though.
I remember things about the 2 of them. But I'm nothing more than a puppet. Something that somebody created. So why would I have their memories? Do you know where Sora is now?
That secret stays with me.
Why's that?
Shion. Your memories, they really belong to Sora.
So you mean I'm like a part of him?
When his memories were scattered, some of them found their way inside you. Now, Sora has been put to sleep so that we can piece together his memory. Except...
You can't because part of it is inside of me. That means he can't wake up.
Yeah. You got it. But, if you go with me to Sora right now, we could give the memories inside you back to him.
So, do you hate me for taking your friend away from you?
Nah. I guess... I'm just sad.
I'm sorry. But I can't go with you. It's my friends. They need me. And I need them too.
Maybe you should take some time and think about it. Figure out who really needs you more. And where you belong.
How will I know where I belong? Truly. I'm not sure I can promise you I'll come up with the right answer.
Well, the answer you come up with can't just be right for you. It has to be one that works best for everybody. You and your friends and everyone else.
I'll try.
So basically,
Thank you.
Riku decided instead of just beating the crap out of her and dragging her back to Naminé, he decided to present her with a choice. I imagined that he would have beaten the crap out of her eventually, but he
Yes.
decided to give her a chance.
I have to make the most of the time Riku's given me.
That's a big boy.
Yeah, this is a variation of the Invisibles from the previous game that you remember.
Yeah.
There are several reskins and recolors and whatnot in this, but yeah. This is actually important, I forgot. This is actually not just a generic fight, this particular one. His strength spent on a formidable foe, Roxas swung his Keyblade with all his might in hopes of ending things quickly, battling a super strong Heartless. But his strike was interrupted with the sound of clashing metal. There was Axel blocking both Roxas's and Shion's Keyblades. They had been fighting the entire time, each thinking the other was a Heartless.
Oh.
Axel informed them of the truth surrounding this mission, rigged to get them to fight one another. Only problem is the only person in the organization who has the power to do something like that is Vexen, and he's dead. So I really don't know who concocted that little scheme, but whatever. It's a thing that happens. And it's kind of an important scene that isn't in the game.
No.
I mean, isn't in the movie, I mean.
While since
It's in the
we all
game.
hung out like this, hasn't it?
Well, we've had our share of drama lately. I just remembered. Did you know you should be checking your ice cream sticks?
Really?
Once you finish your ice cream, see if the stick says winner. Oh. Not that I've ever seen one myself.
Wait a second.
Oh. What is it?
It's nothing. So then, what happens when you win?
I'll tell ya. That's a good question.
What? You don't know?
Well, it's gotta be something nifty if you're a winner, right?
I love how it's in all caps in the subtitles. It's gotta be something nifty if you're a winner.
Wow. The sun's beautiful. I know we've seen a lot of sunsets.
So are they
But
immune
today's
to
puts
staring
them
at the
all to
sun?
shame.
I suppose so. That's one of the main
If
like
only things
benefits
could
of
stay
going
like
to be a
this
nobody,
forever.
right?
I guess.
You share a lot on health insurance premiums because you're just immune to all sorts of stuff, including but not limited to
Say.
staring at the sun.
What if we all just took off?
What?
If we ran, I bet we could always be together.
But we have nowhere to run.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
What's important isn't that we hang out with each other every day.
As long as we keep each other in our thoughts, we'll never be apart, right? We've got it memorized, Axel.
Good.
I like that line.
I'll have these moments memorized for a long time. Forever.
Me too. Forever.
Sora.
He can't hear you, he's sleeping.
It appears we've come to a standstill.
Yes.
This has gone on long enough. Riku, I think you know what needs to be done.
Right.
Looks like you've meddled again.
Sorry, did you say something?
The organization doesn't need both of them. Just one will suffice. Stop pretending.
I really don't know why
Think
they're
about
saying that.
that.
Like, it'd be better to have multiple, but whatever.
But what if only the strong one could take on the big heartless?
Have the other ones kill little ones. It doesn't matter. It's still more total numbers. All that matters is numbers. Roxas entered the lobby to see Axel, Shion, and Xigbar conversing with Syax. The unusual trio was heading out on a mission. Roxas asked Syax if he could take Xigbar's spot, but Syax chided Roxas, asking him if he was powerless without Axel. Roxas saw Shion and Axel off with a sense of unease.
Uh-oh.
What a blast from the past!
Shion, stop!
Of all the faces, why do I look at her and see yours? Why is it that you always have to glare at me like that?
Shut up!
Huh?
She learned some new tricks. She can teleport. So remember when I told you there was literally like one thing in Days? It's like a birth by sleep, like setup,
I'm
reference,
sorry,
whatever.
Axel.
That's it. It will make more sense
What are you
shortly.
doing?
Please, let me go. I have to do this or else... Just look. Please, Axel. You have to take care of Roxas.
But... you'd be...
Please. Thank you, Axel.
Explain yourself, Axel.
The old man needs to get his eye checked. She just got away.
I'll give him that. Can't toss the blame around.
And now we're left with the one we can't use.
Did something happen? Where's Shion?
She flew the coop. Flamesy Locks here couldn't trouble himself to clip her wings.
Huh? What does he mean, Axel?
Your friend sat there sucking his thumb while Shion walked right off. I'm going back to my room.
Something about the way that he raised his arm
What
there and
happened
walked
out
off felt
there?
very Sonic Adventure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
Nothing? Shion's gone. How can that be nothing?
It's just like Xigbar said. I just sat there sucking my thumb, watching Shion run away.
I'm asking you why you did that, and you know it.
Shion is like a mirror that reflects you.
You're not making any sense.
Shion is a puppet created to duplicate your powers.
Are you nuts? Shion's a person, not a puppet.
She's a mirror that reflects you. And when I looked in the mirror, it wasn't you I saw.
Shion is Shion.
Are you gonna keep
Can't
teasing
expect
us,
her
or are
to
you
be
actually gonna?
That's
ridiculous.
not what I mean.
We'll get there
It was
eventually.
only a matter of time before someone broke the mirror.
You mean they have to destroy her? Answer me!
Roxas, if somebody doesn't, then you won't be you anymore.
I'll always be me. I'm still your best friend. Just like Shion is my best friend.
That's not it. You're missing the whole point, Roxas.
Forget this! Roxas!
I wish you'd understand, Roxas.
So this is also something that, again, you don't get as much in this like kind of cut of events, which is these kinds of points of tension that are raised throughout the entire game. Because the ultimate like kind of fallout of events at the end here,
I certainly did.
I do feel like it raises to that point in a particular way, and one of the big ones being that throughout the entire game, Roxas's big point of tension is he wants two things. He wants to hang out with his friends, and he wants to find out more about who he is, right? And the problem is that everybody's constantly jamming him up on the find out who I am front, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, we're now seeing things come to a boiling point between him and Axel, because Axel's getting in the way of both of the things that he wants, right?
Yeah.
Like, it actually makes sense within the limited scope of... Roxas wants two things, and his best friend is stopping both of those things from happening now. Like, other people have been denying him information, and Axel's been doing it sometimes, but now he is very explicitly getting in the way and not telling him what's happening, right? I say this especially in comparison, again, to some things that go down in Birth by Sleep, in terms of sources of conflict and tension in that game, where I feel like a lot of this works a lot better. Again, don't want to spoil anything from Birth by Sleep from people who haven't watched that playthrough yet.
Shion has disappeared yet again.
Do we know where she is headed?
Is that the first time he's spoken in the whole movie?
She is a
Maybe.
replica, merely a puppet.
A puppet? What does that mean exactly?
A puppet is a puppet.
Thanks, Syax.
Talking about the replica program, isn't it obvious?
The what-ca?
Perhaps you care to enlighten us about this pet project of yours.
The purpose was to take a piece of the Keyblade wielder's memory and copy it, thus making his powers our own.
And now they're talking as if it was their plan to get Roxas's memories. I really don't understand.
At Castle Oblivion.
They're changing it in post. He's like, no, this is... He's like, no, I'll make everybody think that this is what we're doing.
Yeah, so Vexen died, and that made things more difficult for
Needless to
us.
say, losing Vexen was not part of our plans.
It's the only time that something
There
hasn't
was
gone...
a little gravestone on it.
When this particular replica,
like the modded gravestone you get like in like the really crappy like square gravestone in like Minecraft mods.
Yeah.
You know, for like where it's like oh, I don't want to have stuff despawn, so you get those in certain mods. And it's just sitting there right in his chair with the grass texture and everything.
its own.
No one at Castle Oblivion ever reported any instance where a replica formed its own identity.
Didn't?
Do you concur?
Hasn't there only been like...
Is he about to lie about this?
Whatever.
I guess okay. He turned. I guess the idea is that like Riku did, and Axel was withholding that information or something. I don't know. The implication is that there were a bunch of replicas before the Riku replica that we don't know about.
Sure. When are they getting their own game?
I don't know. It's a weird thing where like they keep talking about, oh, this was Vexen's whole thing was he did the replica program, and it's like there are two. The manga justifies this by saying there were 87 Vexen replicas that he created as backups just in case something happened to him. And
where'd they all go?
They're in the manga. They're not in the game. So I'm saying in the manga there's like a gag of Vexen, like Vexen replica going around and doing stuff after Vexen's death. But like in the games it's like, ah yes, Vexen was the scientist genius who was making the replicas. How did that go for him? He made 2. And then he died. What was he doing in the 10 years before that? Listen, these things, they take time.
He was building the facility they're in.
I guess so.
No longer have an impact on our plans. Still, it knows our secrets. We need to shorten the leash, perhaps even tighten it.
What exactly do you...
Axel, the onus is on you to capture and bring back Shion. The escape was on your watch. I will overlook any nicks or scratches. Just ensure she still functions on arrival.
Why would you allow a
So he
deserter?
said not a she, but it. But then he just
Whatever.
referred
Who
to her.
cares?
It is not
I mean,
a
you're
deserter.
right, but
It is just a flawed specimen that has wandered out.
you are correct. But I'm just like
whatever.
Are we clear, Axel?
Axel's not very talkative today.
Bring her back alive.
Also, he was sitting with really poor posture.
All these guys have bad posture. Look at Demnix. Look at him.
Yeah. These chairs are just too big.
And they're all made out of concrete.
So now
Nobody's using the
we
proper
just
back
sweep it up, huh? As if.
If only the whispers at the top carried to the bottom.
Axel, those orders were absolute. Still here, Roxas? Proceed with your mission.
Shion is... She's not a puppet.
A puppet couldn't be part of the organization. Just count the seats here. We have and always will be 13.
You're not anymore.
And they weren't 13 before all the new people showed up. Because Roxas only showed up a year ago. And in Kingdom Hearts 2 scenes, they're mentioning like, oh yeah, we recruited new people. Like they always planned for 13 dudes specifically, and they had the chairs for people who weren't there. What?
And if there's always 13, like why aren't you recruiting?
More people. You need more people. Go get more.
Maybe it's best if Shion never comes back to the organization. Do you really have to do what Xemnas says?
If I don't, they'll eradicate me next.
Whatever.
In that case, can you at least try not to harm her?
That's up to her. Roxas. Shion is
Something about that
dangerous.
turn also felt very Sonic Adventure.
I
don't
know what
it
you're
is.
saying.
I don't know how to describe it, but you see it too, right?
Absolutely. It's like the exaggerated, like it has to do with the neck and then the body
Have you
following.
known about
I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
Could it be that you've known about her for a long time and not told me anything?
Once again, as I was just talking about a second ago,
Yep.
with Axel withholding information from Roxas being the one big thing.
Oh hey.
So here's the scene. Number one, we need fodder for the trailers. Number two, we need to be able to put Mickey Mouse on the cover because he's on the cover of all these games except for Kingdom Hearts 1, right?
Yep.
So here's he's on the cover of the game. This is the only scene in the whole game that he is in.
Great.
And you'll see what I mean by trailer fodder in a second here. Look at that. Look at how good that looks. The reflections on the bodysuit there.
Yeah.
I wonder if they did this for a trailer.
You actually can see the model underneath. This is definitely for a trailer. He's not voiced, is he? He doesn't have a voice in this, does he?
I think he does, but... Unless they cut around it. He absolutely has dialogue in DS. I assume. Maybe they cut all of his dialogue. That would be pretty stupid if they did.
Riku!
There you go.
Okay.
Your Majesty.
Dodged a bullet there.
Gosh, have I been worried about you? Where have you been all this time?
I've been searching for a way to conquer the darkness within me.
And you just saw me let it out, let it out.
The way you looked.
You don't have to worry about me.
You don't have to worry about me.
I'm getting the hang of keeping the darkness under control.
And Sora, did something go wrong with fixing all his memories?
There's a reason the organization has been quiet since our battle at Castle Oblivion. And now I know it's not because a depletion in members had made them weak. Taking Sora's memory apart, piece by piece, was only the first step in what they were trying to do at Castle Oblivion.
And see, now they're claiming again that this was all part of the plan. I don't understand.
His memory.
You know, you and me were both looking into what the organization was up to. But what I saw didn't look like much. Almost like they're trying to buy some time.
It's the game is acknowledging that the entire organization is useless except for people with keyblades. They're trying to make an excuse, but it's like, buy time for what? In Kingdom Hearts 2, all they do is ask Sora to go kill Heartless. They're not like... They're preparing for something big.
It's all going according to plan.
And they needed all this time, until now, to absorb every piece of it.
They needed the time for this plan that they weren't planning. There was a happy accident. I don't know.
Gone nowhere. They have what's most precious to Sora, his memories of Kairi.
So yeah, that's when Naminé was saying, like, what if these memories are so important that he needs them to wake up, right?
Yeah.
And this is also supposedly the reason why, at least, I don't know if they're going to get to this. Maybe there are. The reason that they were like, he's a mirror, that she's a mirror that reflects you or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that her appearance reflects your perception of her in some way. So the reason that, you know that scene where it was cutting and like she would have the hood on and not have the hood on? That was meant to represent how Roxas saw her as a person because he was friends with her, whereas Axel still saw her as just like a weirdo, right?
No, I figured it was something like that.
Okay, so the reason that that Xigbar sees her as
Roxas?
No, not Roxas.
Wait,
that
Xigbar?
Birth by Sleep character. Remember? Because he did not have the when Xigbar looked at her.
Oh, Xigbar.
Oh, sorry, did I say the wrong person?
I don't think you did.
Xigbar, Eye Patch Man, looked at her in that scene a couple of scenes ago, and she was wearing the clothes of the Birth by Sleep protagonist, Ventus, right?
Yeah.
It's not a spoiler to say his name for anybody who's watching in this order.
Yes.
That has something to do with Shion's nature and Xigbar's prior experiences in his life. Okay. Again, we'll talk about that more later. But the reason why Shion looks something like another version of Kairi is supposed to be because the memories that are stored within her are Sora's most important memories.
Yeah,
his memories of Kairi.
I figured it. Like, I figured it had to do with Kairi.
Also, as Joshua shouted out earlier, but they're just friends, though.
Well, then you have to let me help. Maybe I could get the memories back.
I've got that covered, Your Majesty. I mean, Mickey. Instead, I want to ask you for a favor.
What would that be?
I have to face one of the organization's members soon. I might not survive the fight. And if I do, it might be because I gave in to the darkness. That means you're the only one who will be there for Sora, Donald, and Goofy. The only one who can guide them when they awaken.
Riku.
Promise me, Mickey. When our friends wake up, you have to be there to help them out.
I promise, Riku.
And what's weird is that in Kingdom Hearts 2, the promise that he made was to not tell Sora what happened to Riku, but all he just asked him to promise there was take care of them.
Yeah.
Like, they did the scene where it's like, hey, here's where they make the promise. And they didn't make the promise!
Replica program.
Ah.
Shion was a puppet.
Too many cooks.
Made
Too many cooks.
The Keyblade's powers.
As I've said before, it actually is a situation. It's too many screenwriters.
Yeah, it's very. That's very apparent.
I'm pretty sure the people who worked on Days were employees of the company they outsourced. Like, I think that Tetsuya Nomura actually did a little. He actually said, "I don't like screenwriting. I did some writing for Days. It was not fun." But I'm pretty sure the other two key screenwriters on Days were from the company they outsourced it to. Like, they weren't even Square employees. They didn't work on any of the other games.
Was a replica. A puppet.
Solid Snake Simulation.
What about me? Am I a puppet too?
Am I an android
Xemnas said
too?
Sora was what connects her and me. But who is Sora?
Wait a second. If you put an X into Sora and rearrange it, oh my god! I don't know what that means! It's Yoko Taro. That's right, when you add all those together, you get a number that's completely devoid of meaning.
What could he be hiding about me?
So anyway, yeah, as I was just saying, these are the points of tension that I was just talking about a second ago.
Yes.
Roxas wants friends and wants to know who he is, and both of these things, the only things which he desires, are being kept from him. That makes him a very angsty boy.
Hey, Roxas. Did you find Shion yet? You know it isn't gonna be that easy. I suppose not. Have you known about Shion this whole time? No, not the whole time. Since when, then? I can't exactly remember when. Didn't get it memorized, huh? Axel. Who am I really? I'm special like Shion, I know that. But the organization wanted me out of the picture. Am I right? Yeah, they did. I guess it's 'cause Shion copied my powers and the Keyblade's powers. And they didn't need me anymore. And Axel, I guess you felt the same way. You're wrong there. You'll always be my best friend. Best friends are supposed to be honest with each other. Who am I, Axel? Xemnas says me and Shion are connected to each other through Sora. I don't even know a Sora. Am I a puppet like Shion? You're different from Shion. Then why do... Finding out the truth doesn't always work out for the best. What makes you so sure about that? I have the right to know the truth. How did I even get here? Why am I so special? Where did I learn how to use the Keyblade? I hardly know who I am. What is so wrong with wanting some answers? Roxas. I need to know, Axel. Please. Who am I? You've just got to trust me, Roxas. I don't. I can't. Roxas. Somebody knows where I came from. If I can't get answers here, I'll get them somewhere else.
This is one of the perfect encaps.
That'll be the person I trust.
This is like the perfect scene I was talking about earlier of like Jesse McCartney acts his heart out though in this game. It doesn't seem like he doesn't seem to suffer. His performance doesn't seem to suffer like some of the other actors. He knows what he's been around the Kingdom Hearts park before, I guess. He's ready to go again.
But I have to find out about myself. There's no reason for me to be here anymore.
So the winter stick loses a bit of its significance when you can't read Roxas's journal. So like he holds on to it to ask Axel about it, what it is, and then kind of forgets about it for a while. When Axel brings it up, he's like, "Oh yeah, I guess it must be something good if you're a winner, right?" If I recall correctly, he basically says, "I want to surprise Axel with it, like when we get like enough for all three of us, right?"
Yeah.
And now this is another dangling thing of our friendship has collapsed before I got to do that. In addition to the going to the beach next year and that kind of stuff. Oh, I should also mention, because we just completely skipped past it, at this point, Roxas fights his way out of the castle, killing tons of nobodies, and has a boss fight with Syax.
Really?
Yes, really. That we've just completely skirted. But yeah, so he has a boss fight with Syax, who's like, "We don't accept resignations." And you beat him up, and then you leave. But we jump right past that.
Wow, even in your weakened state, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Your mind's made up?
Why did the Keyblade choose me? I have to know.
You can't turn on the organization. You get on their bad side and they'll destroy you.
No one would miss me.
That's not true. I would.
We saw that before, didn't we?
Yeah, that plays in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay.
That's one of the only scenes you get to see of Roxas's life before in KH2. And this, I'm also going to tell you this right now, just so there's a little bit more setup for it. Not that it really matters. One of the missions that you went on previously, like a couple weeks before this or whatever, was place a device. It was just like, hey, take this this weird metal array, and we want you to put it in the Cave of Wonders on Agrabah. Just put it there. And Axel, Sora, Axel, Sora, whatever. Roxas doesn't know what it is. He just does what he's asked and leaves it there, right? Okay, well, that's not super important, and I'm going to bring that up again in a second. I might have to bring it up on the next episode at this rate, but whatever. We're almost to the end, but we'll have some stuff to talk about in post, and we'll have to read the diary and stuff, so
you.
We're probably going to stop in just a minute here.
Shion.
Why did we fade just to have them sitting in the chair? Why can't we just cut like a movie would cut?
Are you able
Since we're watching a movie.
to see my face? Yes. Then what do you think I should do? What do you want to do? At first, I just wanted to be with Roxas and Axel forever. But then I started to realize that my memories, well, these aren't really even mine, are they?
You're not Sora, and you're not Roxas. You're Kairi as Sora remembers her.
As I remember more of my past, the more I feel the need to go back where I came from. What should I do to go back?
So you're going back to Sora? If you return your memories to him, then you will disappear. In exchange for not having your own memory, you're connected through others' memories. So when you disappear, no one will remember you. There won't be any you to remember. For all the powers I possess, I can't keep even one piece of the memory called you connected.
I know, I'm ready. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. I also know that Roxas should be going back with me. But I don't think he would understand. Not yet.
I know. Roxas can't feel Sora just yet.
Namine, will you please watch over Roxas once I'm gone? You won't be alone. I asked someone else, too. There just isn't anything else I can do.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, if you're ready, let's go see Sora.
Namine, it's them. The organization has found us. They're almost here. This blasted puppet led them right to our doorstep. See what you get for trusting it.
I can handle this. Wait! Shion!
Why do I always get stuck with the icky jobs?
Axel?
Shion, what are you gonna do?
I've decided that I have to go back to where I belong.
Well, to be honest, I always felt that was best right from the very beginning. But you know, it still really bugs me. Something about this just stinks.
It's for the good of everyone.
But how do you know that? Everybody thinks they're right.
This is right.
They're gonna destroy you!
Please don't hold back, Axel. Promise.
What's your problem? You both think you can do whatever you want. Well, I'm sick of it. Go on, you just keep running. But I'll always be there to bring you back!
Hard cut.
Well, that would be hard cuts in DS too. Because you don't play as either of them, so there is no fight. As a point of reference, Axel, that's pretty much one of the less efficient ways to carry a person. You're gonna wear yourself out much faster doing that. You should try and have her piggyback on you. It's much easier.
Just do that.
Yeah, but I guess the Axel's wounded from his fight, right? Okay. All right, this is where some stuff happens off screen that's a little bit confusing. The manga tries to clarify it, and in the game, the exact intent of what happened isn't clear. But anyway, Roxas has run away. He's off by himself, right? At this point in the game, you no longer have access to like the lounge. You know what am I talking about? We need to cut an episode here.
Okay.
We'll come back and wrap this up on the next one.
Gotcha.